Mike Pachelli here. Thanks for tuning in. For this lesson, I'll be talking about the Beatles' recording of The Night Before that they did in February of 1965. Now, neither Paul nor John remember much about writing the song, but as far as we can deduce, the song was written at Jane Asher's house where Paul was living. And I don't think Paul and Jane were having any problems at that time, so the song is probably not about her because they were getting ready to go on vacation to Tunisia right about then. So as John Lennon used to say, it's probably projecting oneself into a situation and writing a nice story about it. Paul McCartney was very pleased with the recording, and he told Melody Maker that the sound was one of the best they got on record instrumentally. February 17th, there at EMI Studio 2, they do 2 takes of the rhythm track. Take 2 is the best, with Paul on bass, George on rhythm guitar, Ringo on drums, and John on electric piano. He's playing a Hohner pianette. And it's his first time on a Beatles record where a piano part that he tried to do actually made the cut. He tried recording keys on Things We Said Today back in June of '64, but it wasn't used. Then they did the overdubs. Paul on lead vocal, and then Paul double-tracked his lead vocal. John and George did those background vocals. They did the guitar solo, Paul and George did. Actually, they played the same thing in octaves. Ringo overdubbed maracas, and the whole session took 5 hours to completion. It was mixed on February 18th, and once again, the powers that be basically, buried George Harrison's guitar part, but I have deciphered it for you. There was a new version recorded on May 26th for their very last BBC radio show, and they never played it live, but it did make it into the Help movie in that Salisbury Plain scene. It was released on August 6, 1965 in the UK on Parlophone, and on August 13th, 1965 on the Help soundtrack album on Capitol Records in the USA. So that's the backstory. Let's get started. George Harrison is playing his Gretsch Country Gentleman on The Night Before. This is a country classic, and I have it plugged straight into a 1964 Vox AC30. George is the only rhythm guitar player you hear on the song, and he varies his part quite a bit. So to play the intro, you'll need these chords: a D, an F, G7, and an A7. Let me do you that part nice and slow. 3, 4, 1. And closer to speed, it would be 3, 4, 1. Now to play verse 1, you'll need that D chord again, a C bar, G, and an A. Those chords repeat. Then you'll need a B minor. And now you'll need a G minor 6 to G minor, played like this. Then you're going to switch to this D, to the G, D, and at the end, F to G, So nice and slow, verse 1 goes like this. 3, 4, 1. Okay, now we're off to verse 2. Same thing starts on this high D, and there's some ghosting. So if you play like this, you play like 1. hear it changes. This time it's like kind of a B minor to a B minor 11. So first he plays. See that? Then to the G minor 6. And this D. Then back up to the bar. 1. Then bridge 1, you'll need an A minor. Got to finger things right. To D7, play a G, and kind of like a C over G, just that kind of sound. B minor, E7, A7. Oh, sorry, A7's down here. And then he does a little move where he plays like kind of just for a moment, which would be a G over A. Easier if I just show it to you. So here's the first bridge. 1. See that? Okay, now we are to verse 3. In verse 3, he's using these D's down here. And he plays like this. 3, 4, 1. And the second part of this verse, pretty much like the first time, just and I think the ending of it is pretty much the same too, just 1. Got that? All right. Charts and tabs will make it much more clear than I can say it or play it. Now on the solo, it just sounds like he's freely strumming between the D and the C and the G in these lower positions. So I'd say it's just like the rhythm is probably just 1, 2, and 3 and during the solo part. So George would be playing like this, 3, 4. Repeat that. Coming into the bottom part of a verse where they come back singing, it's like 1. A little different at the ending there. Then bridge 2 would be like this, A minor, 1. They don't go to that C over G until the fourth measure of the bridge. All right, again, that bridge, 3, 4, 1. Really builds up on that last A7. Very slowly, that measure would be. Then verse 4, and George is really buried in that mix. But it seems like he's doing this, something like back to the ending of the verse with the B minor to the G minor 6th. And the final ending would be charts and tabs will make it clearer than I can say it or play it, but that's George's rhythm part on The Night Before. Paul is playing his Epiphone Casino for his part in the solo in the night before, and he and George are playing just about the same part, but an octave away from each other. So here's Paul's part. It goes like this: 3, 4, 1. Now, a couple of the noteworthy things are those first two notes, pick them both down. Before you bend it up, pick it down. Then slide up into this A. And pick that last C. And repeat. And then on the very end, he has a lick, and his last lick goes like this. And as you see, he hammers, or pull-offs, I should say, on the end, where George does a bend. So again, Paul's part. Charts and tabs will make it clearer than I can say it or play it, but that's Paul's lead part. George is playing his Sonic Blue Stratocaster for his part of the solo on the night before. I sold my Sonic Blue to a student who made me an offer I couldn't refuse. But don't worry, I have 3 more Strats, so I'm not in need. Any road, his part goes like this. And just like what Paul was playing, just make sure you pick the first 2 notes down before you bend. And slide up to the A. And then his lick on the end, he plays like this. He goes, so he's bending, or Paul's going, George is going. Well, I put it together in a sound alike, and I midied the piano because I'm just too lazy to learn the piano part. You'll see the MIDI going along the bottom of the sound alike. But if you're kind enough to download the charts and tabs, I will include the piano music so you could have exactly what John Lennon played on the piano. So have a look at this.
Now today I find
Treat me like you did the night before, like the night before. Well, now you've seen what George played on the night before and how those two cool lead guitar parts fit together. I suggest you download the charts and tabs at MikePachelli.com. Learn all the parts, play along with my sound alike, and you'll get it just like the Beatles. And I really appreciate your consideration in supporting my work that way. And as I said before, I've also included in the download the exact piano part that John played, the music for that. So have fun playing this great old song, and until next time, I'm Mike Pachelli. Thanks for hanging out with me.